My name is Aoibheann. I'm a co-founder of FoodCloud. I have some food waste stats there, but I think for the purposes of this group, we're all aware of the massive problem. So I just fly through those. But really, FoodCloud is a charity, an environmental charity first and foremost, and we have a vision for a world where no good food goes to waste. From our side, I suppose 30% of food produced globally is wasted, and a recent report from WWF found that 60% of that was suitable for human consumption. It's obviously a waste of environmental resources and economic waste, and then it does raise moral questions when we're also facing food security issues globally. So FoodCloud is Ireland-based, so we started with a technology platform in Dublin back in 2013, where we developed a technology platform that allowed retailers to upload details of their surplus food, generating a notification to charities and community organisations in their community. We started with one Tesco store back in 2013 and now have scaled nationally with all the major retailers. And our technology is actually being used by other NGOs internationally. So FareShare in the UK and also in the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So they would have been doing kind of traditional food banking via warehousing, but never had any retail technology. So we are working with our partners internationally to allow them to access more surplus food for their community organisations via our technology platform. And then also in an Irish context, we have 3 warehouses, one in Dublin, one in Galway, one in Cork, where we take large volumes of surpluses from earlier in the supply chain. So that's from farm right through to distribution of the retailers to manufacturers. So anyone from a small artisan producer that might have one donation annually in January or after Easter, if you're a chocolate supplier generally, but then we would have some donors that are donating on a daily basis. So it's a very big range. And yeah, our charity group, so we have about 600 charities across the country, all using food in different ways. We don't have a massive food banking culture in Ireland. A lot of our charities are providing other services, and food is a secondary part. So COPE is supporting older people in Galway. Dúchas na Nóige is a youth service, and St. Vincent de Paul addresses all kinds of poverty and injustice. So there's a varying range of community organisations that avail of our services, either at a local level or through 3 warehouses. So yeah, there's some of the partners, and that there's about 1 million meals worth of food being facilitated through our 2 solutions on a weekly basis. So we have started to look a little bit further down the supply chain, and with the support of Department of Agriculture funding and in partnership with Munster Technology University, we took on a project last year where we were looking at unlocking farm level food surpluses. This project was inspired by a similar project in the UK called Surplus with Purpose, where some support was going back to the growers to compensate for the cost of donating the surplus food. So there was 2 parts of the project. Munster Technology University and Tracy and Jennifer particularly led on the research side, and then FoodCloud led on the pilot study side, which was a compensated donation, surplus donation fund. So yeah, it was Department of Ag gave about 60k, Tesco gave a further amount of funding, and also introduction to their growers. So I suppose this is a very wordy slide. Of the growers, the farm organisations that were interviewed for the research, 4 out of 5 had edible surplus that could potentially be made available, in this case donated, but obviously from other speakers, made available to other sales channels. And 1 in 4 farmers experienced losses between 20 and 50% of their crop. The main causes identified were kind of environmental losses and farm management, and the second, the other cause was the market and customer related, so retail specs or unexpected decline in demand. What we found was there was a number of ways for this surplus to be managed. including leaving the produce unharvested or using as compost. Donating was a very small percentage, or paying for it to have removed for anaerobic digestion was even smaller. In terms of financial return for that product that wasn't making it to the market, most was going to animal feed, some going to food processing, but you can see there that the prices ranged really, with an average price for the grade 2 product about 51 tonne. The higher price point was processing, where some growers were getting up to 150 euro per tonne, and the lower for animal feed, which was averaging out at about 29 euro per tonne. So I suppose what it demonstrated was that there wasn't a very financially sustainable secondary market in an Irish context. But Jennifer and Tracy can come in there, because they led on this side of things. And for those that did donate, they did so through gleaning, and some did donate and were partners of FoodCloud already. And the main challenges related to logistics, time, storage and packaging. So in terms of the pilot, we had 5 growers who participated over a 5-month period. 30 tonnes of produce that would have otherwise either remained unharvested or sent for animal feed were rescued, obviously with greenhouse gas emission savings. 125 different community organisations around the country were provided with that produce, and the estimated retail value was about 30,000. Which was the equivalent of about 72,000 meals. So for a very short, small pilot, it had very strong, I suppose, social benefits. And the growers recovered about 13,000 across for the cost of redistributing the produce rather than wasting it. So the feedback across the 5 growers who participated was very positive, and they all wanted to continue on the pilot subject to funding. So we got very strong engagement from those growers. And then I suppose in terms of conclusions and recommendations, some of them tie into the previous speakers, and these were primarily driven on the MTU side in terms of the desk-based research, and investment in the horticulture sector to enable growers to develop on-site processing technologies. So there was some examples of that, but it was only a minority of very large growers that had those processing technologies and capabilities on site. The creation of a financially sustainable marketplace for grade 2 veg, our grade 2 produce, was, apparent that it was lacking in an Irish context, and obviously the previous local link would obviously open up other sales channels as well. Investment in circular economy organisations. There's a lot happening in upcycled products in different areas internationally, and that could be a potential opportunity. More collaboration between farmers and retailers in relation to retail specification and innovation in the space, and then stronger coordination between the fruit and veg farmers themselves in relation to this topic. So similar to, I suppose, the large cooperatives and that kind of thing. So in terms of the pilot project, we are very keen to scale the project up and roll it out nationwide based on that small pilot. For us, it's not going to solve the problem of farm level food waste, but however, it does represent an opportunity to reduce farm level food waste, support farm organisations to engage in food loss and waste activities, and does provide a small financial incentive for participation, which we found was, really important in terms of farm organisations being in a position to make the surplus available. From the social side, it does provide a consistent supply of fresh fruit and veg to our network of charities across Ireland. And obviously we're facing cost of living crisis and increased demand for the services of our community partners. So we are more keenly, even since March, where the pilot finished, we're really seeing a really big increase in demand, and we do want to make sure that the products that we're providing have a good nutritional balance. So this represents a huge opportunity for the charities across Ireland, and there's a massive demand there for this type of project. Over the 3-year period, it could rescue about 1,000 tonnes of surplus food, and we have developed operation plans to scale it. So it would be in partnership with local development companies across the country who are kind of lined up. the missing piece for us in taking this forward is the funding. So we're actively working to secure funding to scale it up to a point where it makes a kind of a meaningful contribution to growers, but also, you know, is providing, you know, we have a large network of charities, so we want to make sure we can scale it up and support as many of our charity partners as possible. So I will stop there with my presentation. Delighted to be able to share the findings with yourselves, and looking forward to questions if you have any at the end of the presentations.